Healthy blessings in Christ, sisters and brothers of Holy Trinity Westfield. Today is May 15th, 2020. Seems that time continues to move forward, but as we know, our lives have changed substantially over these weeks. Our lives as communities of faith, our lives as the state of New Jersey, our lives as citizens of the United States, our lives as an international community. The coronavirus, COVID-19, has reoriented many parts of our lives. Our purpose today is to do what we did back in March, to give an update on the life of the Christian community of Holy Trinity as it faces these times, and as other Christian communities, as other faith-based communities go about complementing life in faith, in prayer, in action through these times. I'd like to go back to 1995. There was a book written by Dr. Gary Chapman. This is the 25th anniversary of the publication of this text, entitled The 5 Languages of Love. What I'm going to do here is share with you the 5 languages of love and how our community is participating faithfully in the 5 languages of love based in Christ, based within our Christian journey, within the Catholic tradition. The first language of love that Dr. Chapman notes is receiving gifts. That's the very meaning of donation. One way we express care for the other is by gift giving. The generosity of this community through these weeks has been astounding in many ways. The numbers of people who have come through with electronic giving we share has increased substantially. From December, with our Finance Council, we were encouraging our families, particularly our faith formation families, to be a part of that gift giving to community through We Share. And it has gone up significantly. And so we continue to encourage people during these times to check out that means of gift giving electronically. Also, during these times, as you know, even before the coronavirus pandemic, our community was running a deficit, a weekly deficit, and that deficit still remains. One of the areas that the community took a major loss with was the Easter collection. The Easter collection this year amounted to about $30,000. That was about $20,000 under budget. So there's budget, as you know, and there's actual, and we are at times still running that deficit. At the same time, the generosity is still coming in, and people are still sending their envelopes in via mail or dropping them off in the mailbox in front of the rectory, and we are so very grateful for that kind of generosity. Also, as you know, during these weeks we have collaborated, as every parish has done in the Archdiocese of Newark, with our administration at the top. And they have been outstanding in helping us, in being understanding in how we are to collaborate financially so that the entire church's institution on the local level can survive and survive well. Part of what the Archdiocese had recommended to us was to get on board with the Paycheck Protection Program from the CARES Act. We had a team from our Finance Council work on that, and we have achieved that. That is coming. We were just the other day, given the promissory note that I signed, and we will be receiving that, but that is targeted specifically for the salaries of our dear employees. We collaborated with Holy Trinity School, with our principal, Dr. Adele, on that initiative of what they call the Paycheck Protection Program. So as we continue to emerge from the crisis, we are encouraged by all the giving, the donation that is happening, and we hope one day that we will come through and bridge the financial gap and continue to be a viable community of faith here at Holy Trinity. Thus, receiving gifts, all of that, as you well know, is part of the language of love. The second language of love is spending quality time together. You know better than I that we have been spending more time with our families. Perhaps you've been at table spending time in conversation. Perhaps you've been playing games. Perhaps you've been watching a film or a show, or perhaps you've been praying together. As you know, spending quality time together means worshiping together. During this pandemic season, our worship has taken on the virtual Eucharist, 5:30 on Saturday evenings. We have been doing this now for a number of weeks, and there'll be a few more weeks to come where we will be celebrating the virtual Eucharist. And there's been other parts on our website where you can receive a message of hope and healing. There are so many resources that are available that can enhance your prayer life. In fact, we're starting a new initiative called Sunday at 7. And what is Sunday at 7? This is hosted by the Bereavement Ministry. And the bereavement ministers invite you to pray at home on Sunday evenings at 7 to strengthen one another as we grieve our losses and face separation while sheltering in our own homes. You can download a prayer card from our website in the announcement section. Let me repeat that. You can download a prayer card from our website in the announcement section. We will be praying separately in our homes, but together, Sundays at 7. So spending quality time together takes on many forms. Our family catechesis hosted by our faith formation programs, and the teachers and the catechists working together, and all that has to happen in the home, in the domestic church, because we are always church. We never for a moment are not church. We've been away from the church building, but we are the church. Thus, in all that we're doing and sharing and celebrating together with one another, it's spending quality time together. You've seen the signs. We're in this together. And we as families of faith, family of a nation, and global family, God's family. Also, another language of love is hearing words of affirmation. Now, we've been calling people, our staff has made numerous phone calls to different people and encouraging. You know what that means, to pick up the phone and call someone who doesn't expect the call and say, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Is everything okay? I'm gonna drop something off at your house to make your life a little bit better. I'm gonna send you a text that's gonna make you laugh. I'm going to do something for you that is just gonna change your day so that the doldrums that this pandemic has caused for many, loneliness is not something that's not part of this, it's part of it. But with one another, a word of affirmation from a neighbor, a word of affirmation from a pastoral staff member, all these words of affirmation are basically a language of love. The other day I called someone who you have seen what this family has done all over town. I called Joe Mindak. Joe Mindak and his family are responsible for taking the pallets that you see around town and painting those pallets as American flags of all different kinds of symbols. We have one of those pallets in front of Holy Trinity School thanking our teachers. Holy Trinity teachers, but all teachers. Let's be honest. We know that the role of a teacher is an exceptional role in our society. God bless our parents and all that has to go on, and you're teaching and you're working and you're balancing life. But yes, I think we all would like to be even more understanding of the role of the teacher in our society. And we have all learned a great deal, every one of us. There's no experts when it comes to learning. Everyone is learning during this time. So hearing words of affirmation, and I'd like to just share a word of affirmation to the class of 2020. Class of 2020, not only here at Holy Trinity in our own school, but all our young folks, Westfield High School, all our Catholic high schools, class of 2020. Yes, understandably not easy with only a virtual graduation, other changes, and you've done a great job. And yes, this is not easy not to have these rituals with family and friends and throw your cap into the air and all the things that go with graduation festivities. But I think on behalf of the community, we want to affirm your studies, keep going, keep understanding. 10 years from now, as someone said, you'll be a class saying, back in 2020, this is what we did when it came to graduation. So we want to affirm our graduating class of 2020. Also, when it comes to languages of love, the fourth one is being the beneficiary of acts of service. Now, this is something exceptional because all our ministries, each person who ministers and who's ministered to is a beneficiary when it's centered in Christ, in compassion, in community. What we have coming up this week in Westfield warms my heart. It's about food. Anything about food is not only near to, I think, every person's heart, but one of the basics. It's part of Matthew 25. Take a look at the 25th chapter of Matthew. Take a look at the Beatitudes. It has something to say about hunger and thirst. And so the Westfield Food Pantry has been serving our neighbors in need for 30 years. The food pantry is open 5 mornings a week, taking client referrals from social service agencies, community organizations, local churches, and synagogues. The food pantry likes to provide 10 days of groceries to each family and try to accommodate any special needs. On average, the pantry services 250 to 300 people per month, which works out to approximately 130 plus families. Sisters and brothers, that is putting Matthew 25 into practice. So what's going to happen on May 20th? The Westfield Police Department food drive. But the Westfield Police Department is doing it in collaboration, because when you're community, you always are accessing collaboration and compassion as a common action. So the Westfield Police Department, in unison with the Westfield Public Schools, the Westfield Faith Communities, and the Westfield United Fund, on May 20th from 12 to 3, this incredible food drive will happen, so that food pantry, particularly now in dire needs on all sides, will be well provided for and many people will not suffer food inadequacy, as it's called, or honest hunger, craving, not having a meal, an awful feeling. The rain date, and it's not going to rain, it's going to be a beautiful day. The rain date is May 21st. The day is May 20th from 12 to 3. There's even more details on the website. And lastly, the fifth language of love is experiencing physical touch. Now, in these times, yes, we've been told no shaking hands, no hugging, no kissing. This is not easy for anyone. Human beings are cut out of the caress of the divine. If the divine didn't want us to touch one another, we would not have a human body. The divine creates the human body. The human anatomy is the divine design. All that goes on within us didn't come out of the air, it came out of the divine imagination. And physical touch, healthy touch, affirming touch is a part of that. And so yes, there's a deficit in these times out of necessity, out of safety, but it doesn't eliminate a wave. When I'm walking and I see someone coming, I want to at least nod at them, recognize their presence. I want to wave at them. I can at least say something through my mask. How are you doing? Good morning. It doesn't exclude being aware of physical presence. At one time, there's many a person out there listening right now. Gentlemen used to tip their hat when they came across someone else on their path as a sign of respect to the human person. Thus, sisters and brothers, yes, we may not be able to experience all the wonder and beauty of physical touch, but other gestures must come in respect to one another. And lastly, I leave you with these three little thoughts. Number one, our church building, and I stress building because we are the church, so the church always has happened. Church building will reopen on May 26th. We have a team, our pastoral staff, and going over the protocols to make sure that when we open up for private prayer, we are in compliance with healthy practices. Other places, other churches may be opening sooner. We're going to learn from them a bit. But when we open up, we're going to make sure that this is a healthy way of doing it, and that the praying that is so much a part of our lives and people paying a visit to the church. And who knows, maybe more people will begin to say, yes, I need to stop in a church building and just say a prayer or be in silence with the Eucharist. So May 26th, opening day of church building. All this, once again, check out the website. The second point is Christ, community, and compassion. 3 C's. If there's anything that I keep repeating, that I've repeated for 35 years in ministry, is when you get the 3 C's down, you got the entire package down. Christ, community, compassion. These are heightened times. Compassion is being shared in new and novel ways and forms and means on all sides. That's what eradicates a virus. Compassion eradicates a virus. Lastly, I know I speak on behalf of the pastoral staff that has served faithfully through this pandemic, that we miss your presence. We will keep you posted, and we will continue to do the best we can do in our electronic ministries and Zoom. However we can Zoom, we will Zoom. And we do indeed look forward to the day when we can come into the physical building of a beautiful church that has exquisite stained glass windows and that the light that comes through those stained glass windows will illuminate the community anew, refreshed, ready to praise and thank the living God. Stay healthy, stay well. It's an honor to be part of the community of Holy Trinity. Thank you.